I'm recording. There we go. Now we just say that Luke's in his mansion. That's why there's the echo.
Yep.
He's in the hall, the Great Marble Hall or something.
Echo.
Echo.
The
Echo.
halls of medicine.
Mm. But Mark, you probably figured out that you're not seeing him because he sounded like a robot last time.
Sure.
Just
Whatever it
imagine.
takes.
You can just imagine what he looks like if you want.
Imagine he looks like Tiger Shroff.
You'll
Who?
just have to
Oh,
look
right.
onto
Yeah.
the fires. We both know I'm just kidding now.
Oh shit. Oh shit, it's fucking Bane. Oh god.
Your Bane is back. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I didn't look at a number for this. Oh, let me
Oh
whiz
god.
that up. Get
Should...
squizzy on that. I'm getting squizzy. Dun, 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 dun. 79. It's 79. Oh, I have to put Plaza Glory out too.
Nice.
I'll do that after this.
All
See if
right.
I get a message. Where's the episode? I didn't actually put it out yet. That's what happened.
You get those sometimes?
Occasionally get them now, yeah.
Neat. That's
If I'm
cool.
late, somebody will tell me now.
That's cool.
Sometimes.
We're big enough that we have
Yay.
people angry at us. Yay.
Someone's finally angry at me. Okay. Let me bring up the wiki on this.
My thinking with Monster Mash was always like, if we ever get in trouble for using that like song as our theme tune, that just means that we're big enough that someone cares.
Hell yeah.
I assume I'll have to change the name of the occult Disney one at some point too, but that's also a sign of
Oh yeah, you've just straight up got the word Disney.
I know.
Playing with fire.
I know. But yeah.
Well, it should be in the public domain.
Yeah.
I guess corporations' names never really are in the public domain, are they?
But it's also just a man's surname, so
Right.
That's also true. Yeah, it might
Maybe
be
it's why.
fair.
Because remember that just started as an oral hygiene thing, so it was like whatever, that's what it's called, and then they kept the name. So yeah, if I had thought about it more, I probably wouldn't have had that name, you know.
Mm.
Or thought it was going to be more than one episode. Okay, 79. You want to jump in?
but
Sorry, I thought I should just ask real quick. DOS boot, American 28th, 29th, Japanese 29th, 30th. Any preferences? Basically
None of
wins.
those. I don't have a preference. None of those dates have anything on them for me.
Luke, Wednesday or Thursday?
I don't have a major preference. I should be done moving by then, so it shouldn't make a difference.
Okay. Anyway, I'll go ahead and just probably say Wednesday morning, Tuesday night.
Okay.
Functions for everyone. And let's see. Let me have a quick list look for what we should do next week. We don't have a guest or anything next week. Neverending Story 3 is next week. And then Mark, you need to get hold of Chuck if you want him for Superman 4.
I've texted Chuck and I'm gonna get in touch with the Jaws 3 people and hopefully.
Okay, I didn't put their name.
Somebody
I mean, of course I can do it. I don't remember who you want for that. So
Blake and Alyssa are their names, but you know.
Okay, I'll just put them on the list at least, so we don't get someone else. And if we do it by ourselves, who cares? That's fine.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just leaving a pause so you can edit. In at number 79. If you mess with me, I stay calm. But if you mess with my brother, I cause harm.
That's like poetry. This is a very poetic podcast today, I think. Yeah.
If you touch my brother, I will destroy the entire nation of Syria.
Yes.
The guns on these people. I mean, yeah. It is Films and Filth. It's a Citizen Kane of podcasting. I am Matt here.
I'm Mark. I am Luke.
I guess it worked out. Like, yeah. Where you
except that when you say it worked out, then it doesn't work out, because if it works out really well, then we just keep going. But
it's like a 40% worked out. Like you can work out the names. Like it's not like completely simultaneous is what I'm saying.
Didn't work out as much as Tiger Benson.
No.
So today's movie, as Mark did more research for, Baaghi 3 was released. It's on our bad list, but it was released to mixed reviews in India. They don't hate this. It seems to be like a foreign hatred on this one. It's 2.2 now, by the way. It's gone down on IMDb since we made the list.
Here's
I
the
want to
thing.
find everyone who gave this a bad IMDb review and give them a big fucking wedgie because they're all just fucking dorks who are like, oh, this is very, not very subtle. It's a very silly film. Yeah, it's fucking sick. This is how films should be. I love this. I want to go and watch Baggy 1 and 2 and all of this guy's films.
Mark,
Luke,
did you do that?
I'm gonna probably say a lot of things that are gonna make you feel bad because unfortunately, the lack of popularity here, as far as I can tell, has less to do with it being dumb and more to do with that India does not like a slightly effeminate action star.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that seems
So
to be.
this is like in the
He's like a guy that people don't like.
huh.
That's it's got a lot to. Also,
So it's like
looking
putting
at
Rob Schneider in your film?
looking at the user ratings filtered by country, United States, this has a 2.3, India 1.9. So they actually hate it more
Wow.
than
Okay.
the US does.
I get that
Bangladesh kind of likes it.
I get
But
that
like it's financially successful in India though, right? Like the film does well. They made 3
Worldwide,
of them.
like a Transformers movie, right?
it did pretty well. And there's a fourth one greenlit. Worldwide, it made its budget back 3 times, which is it's not a very high budget movie, believe it or not. This is like a $6.5 million film. Maybe it's just cheaper to make films in India. But yeah, it seems like it's not what we would necessarily assume is the question of why is this on the bad list is kind of complicated and weird, and I've dug up a couple of reviews of it that kind of confuse me actually.
That's
There's
really
a
interesting. I
lot.
guess it's kind of like how 10 years ago you would get action films starring like Robert Pattinson or Taylor Lautner.
Mhm.
And like they could have been perfectly good films, but sort of the action movie audience were like, no, these are pretty boys for girls to fancy.
Yes, I think it's just kind of almost like a Michael Keaton Batman situation, or
Okay, because
maybe Ben Affleck.
I couldn't work it out watching this because some ways like in the name of the king, it's like, oh well, it's Uwe Boll, that's why it's here, right? D War, I guess it was just a weird mishmash of Korean production and American actors, and again, I'm not quite sure why that. I don't know, like maybe because it's a foreign film, I seem to remember some hate on D War, and this one is just
Oh
like
yeah,
out of nowhere for us at least.
I did wonder
there
if like part of it was just that it is kind of weirdly racist in the final third.
that is what I went watching
East.
it. I assumed immediately that was what it was. I was like, because it's kind of racist, kind of like the last Rambo movie was like, I'm gonna go destroy Mexico. But there is some stuff in a couple of reviews where this was apparently filmed in Serbia, and a lot of people were kind of like, that doesn't look like Syria, and some of the accents were a little off, which I would
But
never have known.
It was no more racist and inaccurate than like Iron Man.
I don't think it was really offending anybody.
True
But
lies. It's not like Hollywood doesn't do this.
More people were offended apparently by the fact that it just didn't look like Syria, which is
well, yeah, okay, I get that. I don't know
fair.
what Syria looks like so much, so I can
totally
go
fair
with that. Yeah.
Here's another thing. This is a remake of a film called damn it. I have this.
Damn
okay,
it.
I have this. It's a film called Vitai, which is a Tamil language film, because India has like 14 languages. Hindi is by far the most widely spoken, and Tamil is sort of in like the 5th slot. That movie is a 6.0. I watched some of it, and I could probably see why, if you'd seen that film, you might be mad at this one. because that's more of
Okay.
a street level kind of everybody's kind of like dressed down like everybody kind of looks like they came off a construction site. The fight scenes are more like the dude is just smashing people into pillars and like kicking them and haymakering them, and there's like he almost cuts the guy's dick off with a cleaver, which is I think it's more of a raw thing. It's interesting how it's not none of it takes place in Syria. Like they just retrofit a lot of the plot to make this an international film.
So they retrofit the plot for a place they couldn't film.
Yeah.
I think they
Yeah.
were originally planning to film there, from what I was reading on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I didn't get that, but yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. But basically Baaghi 2 was a remake of Telugu movie that's a different language called, I probably pronounced that wrong. I'm sorry. Everyone is I'm doing the best I can.
I
Kishanam.
also like in Hollywood, it's really common. Sorry, in Bollywood,
Mhm.
you just like everything's a remake of something. It's just because the plot is kind of secondary to what dance number and what action scene and what character can you throw in there, right?
That's the impression I'm getting here
Because
because
every
that
single
was
one of them said it's a semi remake of this, which was a semi remake of that.
uh-huh. Apparently the last act of Baaghi 1 is just the raid redemption.
Mm-hmm.
But Baaghi 2 is a remake of a 2016 film, which is even more recent, and that movie is an 8.2. That movie is almost on the good list.
Wow.
Like, um,
Wait, the one it's
so
remaking or Baaghi 2 itself?
Baaghi, the one that Baaghi 2 is remaking,
I
Baaghi 2
see.
is at a 4.8. I was gonna watch Baaghi 1 and 2, but I didn't get through Baaghi 1 because it was kind of a slog. A lot of it was a love story where he was trying to like hook up with this lady and she would only talk to him while it was raining, and he kept playing this like robot voice music that was like love music, and all the rain looked really fake, and
The
there
actor's
was
name
some
is not what I said earlier.
oh
Tiger
yeah, you said
Shroff.
tiger, you said
Tiger
tiger
Benson is
something.
a porn actress.
Well,
They
hopefully
can
they're
do other
friends.
movies if they want.
Hopefully they're friends, but yeah, that one, for my American sensibilities, it was a rough watch, and I didn't finish it, but I probably will later. It was just it's been a long week. This game came out called Animal Well that I became obsessed with.
Oh yeah, I've been looking at picking that up.
It's incredible, but anyway, I got 44 eggs.
I guess part of the charm of this is almost every scene in the movie starts as something that would be in a normal movie, and that just turns into like stylized insanity on like the drop of a pin, you know?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It may be part of why this isn't popular is because this feels like a post Matrix absurd action film. Like, I don't, it feels maybe more modern America. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it's very colorful. Lots of weird stop motion. Guy gets punched and his cheeks flap out in slow motion before he flies across the room, that kind of thing. Um
See, I'm
anyway, if
willing to
I
put the black comedy tag on this, like Wicker Man 2006, the black comedy because it sucks, right? This one, I'm like, I
oh
guess you
yeah.
could call this a black comedy. Sure, why not? I mean, maybe a
I wouldn't even say a
satire.
black comedy. It's just a fun comedy.
Yeah.
It's
Like
it's
the
funny.
the main premise is like a sitcom premise, right? That it's a tough guy whose brother is a super cop, but it's actually because he's doing everything.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that's
like
a
a
funny
Cyrano.
gag premise.
It's like
An ass
Shakespeare.
kicking Cyrano, yeah. Well, Mark, I guess go ahead and spit the story out for us, so people can. I guess you don't need it for this movie, but it helps.
Okay. Ronnie and Vikram Chaturvedi are brothers, sons of a police inspector named Charan, who was killed on duty when they were kids. Even though Vikram is generally timid, he's grown up to take after his father in the police department, while Ronnie is unemployed but also beats the shit out of anyone who messes with Vikram, and also beats the shit out of goons working for a kidnapper named IPL, giving Vikram the public credit. Meanwhile, they fall in love with two sisters named Sia and Richa and Vikram are married. However, Vikram is soon kidnapped while he's in Syria for routine paperwork, while Ronnie witnesses over a FaceTime call. He tells the kidnapper over FaceTime that if anything happens to Vikram, he will destroy Syria. Ronnie and Sia arrive in Syria and soon find out that Vikram was kidnapped by ISIS, led by Abu Jalal Gaza. They infiltrate the Syrian underground and find the kidnapper, who is Abu Jalal Gaza's brother. However, he's flattened by a truck before he can talk. Abu Jalal shows up to avenge his brother, and the police try to capture him, which makes him believe that IPL had him set up and orders his men to kill IPL. So IPL decides to help Ronnie and the police and then sacrifices himself to save hostage and blow up some terrorists. Ronnie fights his way through a literal army of tanks and helicopters to save Vikram, but is impaled and almost killed, which makes Vikram go crazy and start beating the shit out of dudes, and he beats Abu Jalal with a brick and impales him on some rebar. Vikram and Sia are worried that Ronnie isn't responding and isn't getting up, but when it turns out that Abu Jalal is still alive, Ronnie wakes up just in time to stab him to death. Vikram gets accommodation, and Ronnie accepts he'll always be rebel and gives his dad's ghost a hug. The end.
So how much research did you have to do to write the plot? Or could you do it from memory?
I actually had to consult IMDb, Wikipedia, and the movie itself.
Because yeah, I was thinking like, man, I mean, I liked watching it, but yeah, trying to, it's, I mean, I guess the premise is simple. He goes here, gets kidnapped. I mean, the basics are fine, but the details are like completely like, what?
I was going to just read.
There was one scene that I was watching this film just barely laughing at the ridiculousness of it, which is when, so there's the other cop whose daughter was killed years before.
Uh-huh.
And they set up a situation where he can just street execute the man who did it.
Yeah.
But it's like this super heroic music, and everyone's giving him these warm smiles, like, yes, this is justice.
And they had to trust that guy was a crack shot too. I mean, he was already like 50 meters away.
I don't think Ronnie would have cared about getting hit by a bullet or two. See later that he can just dodge them. So.
I was actually very tempted to just straight up read the synopsis on IMDb because I don't know what because India has so many languages, there's just sort of like this thing where a lot of, if you look at the trivia on this movie, a lot of it is like fun kind of, I don't know what you call it, like a little flurries of things you don't normally hear in English because it's probably written by someone who's not a native English speaker. It's like some of the parts of the synopsis are Ronnie meets Sia at a movie theater where she sees Ronnie beat up a bunch of goons who had harassed her and Vikram and is impressed with his whiz bang.
His whiz bang.
Whiz bang is one word.
He does have some whiz bang.
Yeah. And then that ends with the synopsis ends with Ronnie executes Abu Jalal. If you guys didn't know, the guy who plays their father and is the ghost at the end that he hugs is Tiger Shroff's actual father.
Amazing.
Who is a big deal Bollywood guy.
I saw when I clicked on Tiger Shroff that both his parents were blue links on Wikipedia. So.
Well, yeah, his filmography is its own Wikipedia page. That's how big he is. Seems like a decent guy, actually, but also I think a lot of people that may be part of the Tiger hate is people think he's like a Nepo baby and etc. and don't think he's as masculine as his dad. There's a lot of stuff I saw. It's like, I can't believe this is Jackie Shroff's son. No, they didn't say it like that, but you know.
See, I guess we don't come in with any of that baggage. Or like, there's some people on screen. I did, especially when they were running around with their ladies. I was like, wow, these are extremely attractive people, except for maybe one. But that's more funny, that didn't make me angry or anything.
Do you guys think this is like what it's like to watch The Last Jedi without any of the cultural baggage?
Maybe.
Yeah,
although I mean, we like that movie.
Okay, yeah, I like that movie too.
Well, let me think of a movie that I don't like because of the cultural baggage. Well,
no, but clearly a lot of people. There are people who did like this. It still sold a lot of tickets. It's just that there's a vocal minority who don't like it.
Is it like Twilight? And like there's that wussy boy on screen and that awkward girl, and yeah.
From what I saw, it seems like maybe the kids prefer him, which makes sense. That somebody.
Yeah. I think Twilight is the one, Matt. And then, I was talking about earlier, when the Twilight guys then went on to do other roles.
Yeah,
Like
because I have no idea what that movie would play like if I didn't.
Before the Batman came out, people were very down on the idea of Pattinson as Batman. Well, actually,
Mm.
it
I
was
think at this
50-50. I
point,
think by that point, people had figured out, like, actually, he's kind of a perfect Batman.
and also that, I mean, just give we have at this point we have so many Batmen, just what the hell, give another guy a chance. Back when people were pissed about Michael Keaton, who did a great job, of course, but it was like, hey, it's Adam West and this guy, and this is your serious Batman. That's it. So I could see people getting the bug in their butt a little more about Keaton, like before Batman came out. At this point, who cares? There's gonna be another one in 2 years.
Someone always cares.
Batflex
Like,
and
I agree
Flash.
with
Go watch
you,
the
but
Flash. Go watch the Flash. Batflex in
This
there.
Well, this is the thing, is that the one thing that I really got offended by was Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, and I stand by that. I think he was terrible.
he was dreadful. But
Yeah.
like that, I wasn't upset
It wasn't-
before it came out. I just saw it and he was terrible, and I was upset.
Maybe
like
maybe the Flash is a good another good example of it would be very different if you watched it outside of its cultural baggage.
I
Because
mean,
I
it
forget.
also like looks like a PlayStation game for almost the whole film.
I forget, Matt, did you like the Flash or did you dislike it?
$3.
You liked it enough to buy it for $3.
Yes.
Would you bought it for $6?
Yeah, sure.
$10.
That's how we should do our scoring system from now on. How many dollars we should pay for this film?
I'd go up to 10 for this.
Dude,
It just
I would-
the exchange
I'd
rate
pay
was
20.
good. The
I-
exchange rate was good, and then I had some Amazon points, so in the end it was like $3.
I
Okay.
chose not to watch it when I was on a plane and it was free.
Hmm.
I put it on. I was just like, nah.
That's why I'm bringing it up. Like, I will tell you, The Flash is not a good movie. And like you said, it looks like a PlayStation game. Ezra Miller is, seems ridiculous in real life, and he's ridiculous in the movie. Despite all that, I actually really like it.
Yeah, that's how I'm sure I could think of a Marvel movie where I feel like that. Like maybe Thor: The Dark World, which everybody shits on, but I thought it was the only Thor movie where we get to see Asgard for more than 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it has the whack, like dork comic book dork plot, like more so than most of the Marvel movies.
I mean, maybe Baaghi 3 is like the Thor: The Dark World of. I'm just trying to like draw these parallels to things I do know because I know so little about Bollywood.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I've seen like 3 Bollywood films in my life. Maybe there must be a really good YouTube site for watching Bollywood. I hardcore the Wu-Tang collection for my Hong Kong films. So
yeah.
Have either of you guys seen RRR yet?
Not yet. I really want
feel like
to.
I should.
Yeah, same here. I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure it's great. I've seen both of the Enteron, the robot films, and a few other with that guy who stars in that, whose name I can't think of right off the top of my head.
and I think I said before, in university, I had a friend who was an Indian grad student, and he was like, Ghost World. Mark, you might remember, people were like, oh, Bollywood, when Ghost World had the sequences, right? So
right.
And so people want to see it. So my Indian friend gave me the VHS. It's like double VHS. Wow. It's 3.5 hours long. Shandi, okay. That was it. Apparently, it's a well-regarded one, I guess, or popular or something. I think he said it was like the Gone with the Wind of India, which I don't know if that's a positive or a minus.
Yeah, Rajnikant is the guy's name. He's 73. Wow.
Which guy?
The guy who was the robot in the robot films.
Rajnikant. Okay.
Big star. But yeah, I've generally have vibed with Bollywood stuff when I've watched it. I know that there are things that I know that there are a bunch of them that are just like very thick with drama and songs that I might not be that interested in.
Yeah, Shandi was pretty stuffed with songs. This one was it like 2 big numbers?
Just 2 musical numbers.
Just 2.
This has less. This has a less than the movie that it's based on. Vitai is like, it has, I think, 3 songs in the first hour. It's also much longer, closer to 3 hours.
I wonder if that's part of the hate on this, because we talked before.
Interesting.
In India, isn't like, if the movie is not at least 3 hours, I'm getting ripped off.
You're not getting your money's worth.
Yeah, that might be part of the hate on this. It's only 243.
I have heard that.
Is it?
Who knows how true it is?
224.
I don't know about the song thing, because that might just be something that's being phased out. Because again, Enteron, the first one has something like 6 songs in it, where the robot is singing songs about how he wants to have a wife, and the second one, pretty much just has one song at the end, which is weird. I think they're about the same length.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if that's weird or if they're trying to be more like Hollywood, which I
Like,
mean,
Maybe
not-
more,
maybe they're trying to be more like international films.
that's the thing is like how a lot of American films are trying to appeal more to China. Maybe they're trying to appeal more to the international market where, not I like the songs in within reason, but I'm sure that a lot of other like cultures are just like gonna check out, especially if it's, in a different language.
Hmm.
Yeah, another well, I guess everything in this film, it's like either genius or stupid. There's like nothing in between, you know? There's nothing mediocre in this movie. Um
Have I said that I love this movie yet? I love it.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
absolutely adored this film.
And actually, I will say I got through the first half being like, oh, this is fun. I didn't get why both you guys, but once it kind of kicks into gear halfway through, I mean, it already has plenty of good stuff in the first half, but it goes from being pretty nuts to like, whack job insane, which is great.
I was
I
loving it from the start, to be honest. I went into it with basically no expectations. I think I'd already heard that Mark liked it, but like that could mean that it's fun, or that could mean that it's really depressing.
That is absolutely true.
But yeah, once it kicked up, like as soon as it started with just a child beating up other children in slow motion, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna have a good time.
Yeah,
Well, Mark, I anticipated what you said. I wrote in my notes, here's our first musical number. We could have had 5 by now.
well, interestingly, I took this over to a friend's house who I've watched a few Indian movies with, and I made a room full of 6 or 7 people watch this, and they all
Nice.
mostly liked it. Actually, one of them told me "fuck you" a couple of times, but I think he still enjoyed it.
Okay, I was about to say what was the assenting opinion.
No, nobody was mad. I think a couple of people thought that a couple of things were absurd, but
Yeah,
Oh,
everybody
that's the
enjoyed
things are
absolutely.
absurd.
everybody enjoyed themselves and everybody paid attention the whole time. So, I mean, what more can you ask for?
Like, I guess the kind of the energy I got from this film, and hey, actually, Mark, this is one I know that we went to see opening night in America was Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh yeah,
I feel like this has that kind of energy, you know?
that was a play for an international market. So that
Yeah.
might, you know,
Was this a
it's
play for? Did
silly.
this get much of an American? Well, one, it came out in 2020 on March 6th, so it instantly got shot into, it got its thumb cut straight off, didn't it?
It was one of the first Indian movies released during COVID. So
It looks like it was released right before, which kind of memory
Right
holds
before.
several theatrical releases.
I had the American box office in front of me, and now I don't. It was something like less than $1 million, but that's probably pretty good for an American
Well, it would have been
market.
playing in 2020, so like
Exactly.
America definitely in the middle of pandemic, but in India it had like 1 week, I guess. Of I don't know when the pandemic quite started in India though, so or how how much they closed.
Well, I'm sure that they had to close a lot because of, that they do not have a bunch of space
Mm.
from each other. They don't have a lot of space to isolate each other.
And even up to this point, it's kind of like, did that movie come out 5 years ago, last week? Does it exist? I don't know. Did it did it get thrown into a tax shelter for no one to ever see,
There is certainly stuff from 2020 that I still haven't watched because I didn't get around to watching it. I mean, didn't Dune Part 1 come out in 2020? I watched that. Or
It was
maybe it came out in
2021.
No, he got
2021.
2021 because that was one of the first back to cinema films for me.
Yeah. I watched that at home this month. So okay, opening weekend US and Can okay, total US and Canada $721,000, which is
Right.
Presumably pretty respectable. But
But
gross worldwide 16 million.
yeah, I guess it maybe because it's relatively new is why it has some light on our bad list. Like if it was 5 years later, maybe it wouldn't be there.
Yeah, mate, we're still sort of in the sort of stupid backlash.
I can't remember what we did recently that was a sequel, but I guess it's just that because Baaghi 1 is at 5.3, then Baaghi 2 has to be lower than 1 and 3 has to be lower than 2, but this is a lot
Does it
lower
have
than
to
2.
be? Does it have
But
to
I
be?
don't
also,
know.
like, it's a rom-com, and then now it's an action film, so maybe the fans of the original are not there giving it good reviews. So it's just
That
getting the grumpy boyfriends who don't want to watch these films
Yeah,
reviews.
yeah, there's some very a lot of genre whiplash in this, which again is fun. You know, that's fun to watch. So
Mhm.
um
it could be just that maybe in this digital age they don't need to remake a movie from 2012 in a different language. I don't know. It would be like that doesn't happen here. It would be weird. We get remakes that are different languages, but we don't usually get things like remakes of movies from very recent. I guess we got an Old Boy remake, which everybody hated, and I also hated. Yeah,
Yeah, I can't think because they used to do like The Ring would come out like 3 years after the Japanese version, but I feel like we haven't had that as much recently.
that was like almost The Ring was almost such a huge sensation that almost wouldn't happen now. Because like
Yeah.
now if something went
Like
quote
imagine if they brought out an American Godzilla -1, like
yeah, with that
next
well with
year.
that and The Boy and the Heron or whatever it's called. I mean, it's I guess Japanese movies now have like a bit of a foothold in the American box office, whereas when The Ring came
Mhm.
out, it was still kind of like art house only if you're going to see the Japanese version.
Oh yeah, we
I
were
think
talking about some Ghibli films over on Hyrule Field Report. And Mercy was telling us about when she used to buy the DVDs and they all opened with the who's the Pixar guy who ended up being a
John Lasseter hugs a lot. What's lots of hugging Lasseter. There you go.
yeah,
Hugs
they would
of the
start
Bear.
with like little intros from him. Be like, oh, here's this obscure film from Japan, but I think you're gonna love it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we
Now,
do have to give him credit for pushing those films in some at some point in time, but
Well, I just saw an old
also
they
Family
weren't
Feud
almost
very
all
where
good.
of the Pokemon anime movies start with Harvey Weinstein's name.
yeah, it's always when
I
Steve
thought you were gonna
Weinstein
say
comes
Harvey
in.
Weinstein's like, "Hey, I got this great cartoon
Hey
for
kids,
you."
how you doing? Here's a cartoon for you.
Yeah,
You fucking like it.
look,
I
they
cut out
trap
10
animals
minutes.
and balls. I love trapping people. All right, now.
I cut out the 10 minutes I didn't like.
Oh God.
The famously he had a meeting with he wanted to cut a load of um time off the Ghibli movies. And basically he went into a meeting with Miyazaki. An hour later they came out. Someone said to Miyazaki, how'd it go? And Miyazaki said, I defeated him.
Good for him.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well,
So where do you think we are in terms of like you just said how Japanese films now like they and the Korean films as well, I think, have like a level of prestige they are just watched seriously in the West. Are we close to that happening for Bollywood now?
Did that happen with Triple R? That's kind of what
That's what I'm
happened, right?
wondering. Was
Yeah.
that the one? It's like what's but is that just a one-off or is the next big film gonna sort of have some momentum behind it now?
you guys want to know what Tiger Shroff is working on besides Boggy 4?
No, that's
What?
okay.
Rambo.
Hell yeah.
You can watch the trailer on YouTube for Tiger Shroff's Rambo. It looks like it has nothing to do whatsoever with any Rambo movie that's ever been made, but he
I
looks
mean, is
like
he shirtless and firing an AK? Because
yes,
that's enough for
yes,
me.
Headband?
yes,
Headband?
yes. No,
Okay, then
he's
what?
got the outfit. He's got the outfit
It's gonna be
like
better than
all
like at
than
least
half the
3 of
Rambo.
the Rambos.
Yeah, probably.
Will it be better than the Weird Al sequence in UHF, though?
Probably not, but I mean, what is?
Yes, it will be.
That
Yeah.
was formative. That was
It
like
was formative.
formative for my sense of humor. I can't even separate that from so R I don't know. RRR might be being remade. Who the hell knows? I'm trying to figure it out, but
I don't
uh
know. I guess if you are a legit blockbuster on the American market, it does seem like now Hollywood can't just remake it in the next
oh
3 years.
oh my god.
You're telling me
Korean
that
filmmakers look to remake RRR. We're gonna get the Korean RRR.
that
Okay,
somehow
cool.
makes a little more sense
Lord.
because maybe I don't know. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah,
But
sure.
Well,
like I feel like sort of as Hollywood is just eating itself from the inside out, I am so much more interested in going and finding like, okay, what's happening in Korea? What's happening in India? What's happening in Mexico? Let's go and watch more of those like El Santo and the Blue Demon movies, whatever. Like I would much rather watch Baaghi 1 and 2 than whatever Marvel's putting out next.
Yeah, me too. I could watch a couple of Marvel movies that I haven't watched, and I'm going to watch these movies, and I'll probably watch the rest of Vitae when I can get the subtitle situation worked out.
Yep. Same.
But yeah, there's just, I think I haven't seen RR yet, like I said earlier, but I think that's just a case of some people are just stepping up and doing the things that Hollywood would be doing if Hollywood wasn't just so broken right now.
I do wonder if we watched that and suddenly this one would look mildly crap. I don't know if that one's like that much
There is
better
a
in some
part of
way.
me that's like, no, RRR's popular. I'm gonna stick to being the Buggy guy.
Dude, the both of the robot movies are absolutely worth 6 hours of your time. The second one is basically a guy who looks like a giant bird controls cell phones, and there's all these scenes where somebody's like trying to sleep and then a bunch of cell phones turn on above their bed and crush them. It's
Amazing.
super sick. God, they're great.
I think I've seen a bunch of clips from it on YouTube.
Yeah, they were going around for a while, like
Yeah,
robots turning into giant spheres and stuff like that.
yeah.
But he'd wanted Schwarzenegger to star in the second one, and I think they just couldn't come up with enough money to pay Schwarzenegger, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, the budget.
Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan did a Russian film a little while back.
Haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I
know
saw some bits of it on YouTube, and that really did feel like just some oligarch was able to pony up the cash for those two to put in a brief appearance.
Yeah. Well, do you guys feel like Schroff has sort of got a Schwarzenegger thing going on, because that is kind of who I felt like he was channeling. Like he has that look, and
because he's not like a Stallone because he has too much like a sort of different kind of charm.
Yeah, I think it's pretty distinct. I mean, I don't think it feels like Schwarzenegger, but I'm saying here, well, who does it feel like? Well, it doesn't really. I mean,
yeah, well, it's like the old when they asked Jackie Chan, "Are you the new Bruce Lee?" and he said, "No, I'm the first Jackie Chan."
Yeah,
I think Tiger Shroff's his own guy.
that might be part of the backlash too. It's not like, oh, he reminds me of this other guy.
He's like a new generation of action star, and he is a bit different.
Because
it's so weird. You described him as like effeminate. Well, I mean, that's not
I didn't describe him.
I'm not saying sorry. You didn't.
Yeah, but... relaying information. Yeah,
that. But that I am aware that India actually has like all of the sort of incel manosphere bullshit we deal with in the West is amplified like a million times in India. Because they're at basically an earlier point in their feminist movement. So men are going from like absolute power to suddenly women have power.
Well, interestingly,
and then there is like an awful like culture of like rape culture and like the whole marriage thing.
For sure.
So anything a little bit weird and toxic masculine is going to be much worse in India.
So here we go. Tiger Shroff, quote from him: "I will get married to a girl from village. She should stay at home, keep the house clean, and get me home cooked food." So he goes on record saying that, and at least on this, Bollywood subreddit, I found there was a lot of people who said to fuck this guy for saying that. So it is more complicated. That's part of why I was like, man, this is really thick and complicated and layered.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess not.
Which is, I guess
I would love to have someone who's actually really into Bollywood come and join us to talk about this stuff. If anyone's listening and they are like, you guys are idiots, I want to hit us up. We'll do a special episode about Baaghi.
No, we are complete. I mean, we're
absolutely
blindsided by this. It's just like, okay, what's next? Oh, Baaghi 3. A guest never came up for that, and it's like, I gotta do it next week. So here we are doing it.
Yeah.
Also interesting, the Tiger Shroff subreddit has 21 members. So I don't know. Maybe it's just young people aren't messing with.
I don't think
like
young people
IMDb
are
and Reddit.
Yeah,
that's.
I bet the Tiger Shroff TikTok has.
Ooh, sorry, that was me.
I'm
Um,
gonna look up the hashtag
Okay.
Tiger Shroff on TikTok and see how many results I get.
All right.
I will throw out my one criticism of the movie. It was way too muted and like color timed in like a really bland way.
I thought the colors were kind of.
And the dance sequences, of course, they popped, or the first one especially, because it's like a marriage or whatever. But I was like just 75%. Well, actually, my first thing was this movie's too brown. I was like, no, that doesn't sound good when I'm watching a Bollywood movie. So I wrote, the colors are too muted.
I guess it's a little bit low contrast. I don't
Well,
know.
that like they're trying to look like Syria, and that's how movies do Middle East countries, right? So
Yeah, it's not just this movie that's making it look like that. This is more
yeah.
like I don't like this fast of how movies
Oh
currently look.
yeah,
Just like 15
but
years
like
ago,
the
there was
wedding was nice and colorful and
yeah,
stuff.
that
Like there were
was.
colorful scenes.
It was like last year, or last year, 15 years ago, everything was orange and teal, right? So now everything's kind of like low contrast muted.
Anyway, he has 6.8 million TikTok followers.
Okay, good for him. That's
Name
great.
me a current popular Western actor.
Adam Driver.
Okay, I don't think Adam Driver has a TikTok.
Okay, maybe he's not that popular.
No, Adam. No, he wouldn't do that.
Robert Pattinson.
Oh, Robert Pattinson.
Also, I don't think he would have his own TikTok. No.
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Wait,
You
okay.
just put in Timothy, and you get so many misspellings of Chalamet in the search suggestions.
CHALE.
Yeah, like 250,000 followers.
How
Huh.
many?
250,000. So like, oh, but it's not an
Wow.
official account.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
like, but yeah, Tiger Shroff I think is pretty popular. Again, with the uns.
That's good, man. I vibed with this movie. I enjoyed it, and I hope that other people are enjoying it too. And I hope nobody's listening this far in and has been mad at us the whole time because they didn't enjoy this.
See, me and Mark are young and cool.
Hello, fellow children.
I can hang with
I
the
mean,
teenagers.
I was wondering
That doesn't sound
actually,
good.
whenever he spoke English, he had such a cool voice. A part of me almost wondered if he was dubbed.
I
I
think
don't
it
think
might
he
be.
is.
It's
I think
everything
they
Bollywood seems to like every fifth sentence is in English, and I have no idea why. And
But I
don't
think
know
that
how
is just how people speak in India a lot.
Uh-huh.
Whenever I see YouTube videos from India, it is like a sort of hodgepodge of Hindi and English.
Well, a lot of the hate I read on the
Which
internet had a bunch of interspersed English and not
yeah.
English.
I mean, a lot of people do know English. Like when I used to
I
score,
wonder if historically there's a reason for that.
I used to score like a recorded essay answers, the TOEIC, TOEFL, or TOEFL, yeah. And Luke knows what that is. Anyway,
Mhm.
the responses, like when I get ones from clearly from Japanese people, I can understand it because I did this in America, but I lived in Japan already, so I could understand. But usually, really, they don't know what to say. The grammar sucks. When I get the Indian responses, perfect grammar, great vocabulary, can't understand a word of it, and have to listen to it 3 times. So I don't know how that plays into what you're saying, but maybe that's for the every fifth line. Like we want to show off our skills because we have the grammar, we've got the vocabulary. Let's do it.
No, I think it is that is kind of natural in India. It's just to use a mix of English all the time. Because I do see it in YouTube videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Well, I know part of why. But I don't know sort of exactly how it works because I haven't spent any time in India.
Yeah,
But I know it's a thing.
I don't know how long the colonization went on for. Probably much
Too
longer
long.
than I could imagine. Yeah.
200-ish years.
Jesus.
Well,
Well,
here, like, I mean, in this film, right, they bring up like India and Pakistan. That's our fault.
yeah.
We went and did that.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm sure glad that we can eat Indian food here. I don't know how that would have happened. I'm sure that could have happened without brutal colonization, and I wish it had.
I mean, you can get Korean food.
But if it couldn't, then I
mean,
guess
Japan did that, but
If it
America didn't.
then I guess it was all worth it.
Someone would have figured it out eventually. Oh God.
Well, film, filth.
Film,
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
film. This is great.
I wish more films were like this. Just
That
have
said,
fun with
Yeah.
it.
I
Like
kind of
that,
do want to
this
look at
film
some.
doesn't do anything less than like 110%. Like the action scene's absolutely insane, and then it flashes back to like he's about on the way to rescue his brother, and it flashes back to sort of happy peace times, and it's like genuinely quite funny what's going on. Where he's like, she's standing in front while he does the muscles to make it look like her arms, and then the brother's like, "Oh, when did she get sober?" Nonsense like that.
I
Like,
was confused for a second.
And
I fell for it for a second.
I think we've kind of only talked about Tiger Shroff, but the supporting actors, the 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 lady who played Sia, I made a note that when I watched
she's
it, I was like, she is kind of annoying in the best possible way, in which it made me really like her. How she was just like trying to use her phone to get into the men's room, just being like, I'm on my
yeah.
phone. Um,
I think it's
yeah,
great. She's in
and
all three, right? She's
I don't think so.
because
I
the
think there's
character is called Sia in all
very
three.
because I tried to look that up. There's no, it's okay. Yes, she is. And
Hmm.
she's in
Yeah,
the
I think those
first
two are the
one,
two constants.
but not the second one, it looks like.
Oh, really? And then came back for this one.
Uh yeah. He's a character named Ronnie in all three of them, but the stories just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
do
It's not
not go
like
together.
the modern Western idea of what a sequel is. It's just
Spiritual
get the actors
sequels.
back in and do another film. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think of a good example.
Oh,
Like
it's like 30s Hollywood, right?
suppose so.
Like it's another Marx Brothers movie. But it's not like they're playing the characters they were in the previous film, and it's all
Yeah,
canon.
that's a great analogy. The guy who played IPL, I kept thinking of is like um IPL. Is that his actual name? See him like
Yeah,
I
I
saw him
think for a
listed
That's
lot
as
the
of people
IPL
character's
back then,
everywhere.
it's
name.
like their initials because they have such long, obnoxious names. People just call them by their initials. There's a few characters who did that in the film.
I he kept making me think of Matt Berry
Oh, a little bit.
because of how he was wearing that scarf. I just kept expecting him to be like, "Look here, chap."
You
um,
really are the most devious bastard in New Delhi.
Yeah.
so I'm looking at 10-star reviews here, and as you may imagine, most of them are probably not written by native speakers. So, and it's going to
Mhm.
break my vocabulary grammar thing I just said, but that kind of, I don't know, maybe makes it fun.
It's
Hmm.
it's a fun
The best.
minefield.
Okay.
Yeah. Time to step
Outstanding
on any
only see
eggshells.
yeah. Outstanding only see hard work of movie maker and direction. Well, public are open to give review anything, but I am happy with this movie. It is power pack movie. What a fight, action, looks of Tiger. I was thinking this worst movie, but seriously don't see movie story anything. If you're action lover, then go and watch. Tiger Schroff is looking next level up in Indian cinema, but nobody understand. If you watch movie like James Bond or Mission Impossible, you never say it's the worst movie because they are Hollywood. Please don't compare Bollywood to any wood. Improving and making best level. Movie should be super hit, but unfortunately, Janta, I don't know what Janta is. Janta is everything. Personally, I like this movie,
Mm.
even story casting and screenplay. A little difficult to understand. Why, who, chosen character. So it breaks down a little bit, but that's part of the fun of reading that one.
Well, I got one just for Luke. This is
Go on.
10-star review. People are biased. First of all, I want to say these days movies are not really rated on the basis of how the film is. This film is a 4 or 5-star movie, but people are going extreme. They are either rating it at 10, which is not true, or they're rating it as 1, which is also not true. I mean, even after saying 2 to 3 good things about the movie, they rated it as 1-star movie. 8 of 83 found this helpful. That's just
Cool.
someone
Thanks, bro.
who is saying what they're doing.
um, I don't know.
Nothing.
Since we all like this movie, should I read a one as well?
Yeah, might as well. I was looking through
The one
those.
is the more interesting sort of angle on this movie because it is like we've been getting as we get lower down the list. There are more movies where it's like, oh, this is on the bad list because it's really bad. But for me, the interesting part of the filth episodes is like, why is this on the bad list? And this is an interesting one, which I don't think we've solved quite.
Well, I think it's we just don't know Indian culture
yeah.
well enough,
Oh.
but yeah.
And even if we do, we might never figure that out.
Right. Here's this one isn't going to help, but it's pretty funny. All of Baaghi movies won't do, even the third one. 1 out of 10 stars. Just like the Cats 2019 film, this one is also the worst one, as well, or now even worse than the 2019 Cats film. Think twice before watching this film. My custom rating, -10 out of 10. Edit on 23rd April. Actually, this franchise of Baaghi should be the blacked out from any cinemas, DVDs, online streaming apps, etc. How come the trailer of Baaghi 3 has over 2 million likes and over 50 million views, and later on the movie came tumbling down? 6 out of 8 found that helpful. So hey, that's more than 50% there.
It's so funny that they came in to edit to add extra stuff. And they dated it. Well, you know what? This is a lot better than Cat's 2019 film. I'll just
We'll get
tell
into
you
that
that right now.
eventually.
We're gonna be
Yeah.
watching it, so possibly without buttholes, but I guess you just have to do what you have to do, right?
We are all pulling for the butthole cut to surface before that.
Yes.
You'll
just have to
imagine the buttholes.
Use your imagination. I like that. Here's one more, I guess, on the 1 out of 10s. Undoubtedly,
not having a butthole as your ally. I was born without a butthole. I didn't shit till I was already a man.
You have to get a mask for your butt.
Yeah.
Here's one. Undoubtedly third class. Nonsense. All goes out above from mind. All scenes are just made awfully. There are some unnecessary scenes where we think and said how, what, why, etc. Actions are prohibited illogically, where superheroes also think how it's happened. The makers should stop making sequel of this film. They put same character in all same with some story change. Now it breaks down more after that, where I can't actually read it anymore. So
Yeah.
I mean, not like it's offensive.
Oh.
Like literally, it just starts throwing in like either misspelled words or Indian words I don't know. So,
Yeah.
I
mean,
one
one
out
of
of
the
3 found it helpful.
I
I
mean, one
didn't
of
understand what any of that said, which is kind of why I was reading it. I guess. Sorry, that's where I am today. I just keep reading these because like I'm like I don't understand what I'm reading. And does this land with you guys at all?
we're all out of our depth and having fun in the deep end with a couple of pool noodles. You know,
Yep.
here's one that explains the low rating. Remake of Tamil film Vitai. Flim completely copied of Tamil film Vitai. Same to same, wasted. 3 out of 3 found this helpful. That means it's 1 star.
Here's an
So,
interesting sentence.
I mean,
Action sequence are
would you
directly
give the Psycho remake 1 star?
actually, I didn't like it, but I wouldn't give it 1 star.
Okay, because there is an argument for like, why did you bother remaking this? It's like,
Yeah,
there's bad remakes because they change too much, and then there's bad remakes because like this is just the film again. Why did you do this?
Even the Old Boy remake, I would still give it like 4 stars because there are a couple of interesting things in it, and you wouldn't be totally miserable watching it.
I don't know. There is a thing like when you're like an artist or whatever, sometimes you do feel like, can I make an exact recreation of something? Like I tried to record, covers of songs as close as I could to the original several years ago, just to see if I could. Granted, I wasn't doing it on a Hollywood budget or anything, which seems weird, but yeah, sometimes it is like, can I recreate something that's good?
Yeah,
And
when you
does it
listen to
change
a cover
anything?
song, are you looking to hear it sound like the original, or are you looking to hear a new take on it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I was doing these just
But that's like as an exercise, right? That's not
yeah. It wasn't like I was like
your
trying to
creative endeavor.
right. I'm like, can I recreate like a Beatles recording, or how closely can I do that? And I got that because Todd Rundgren did an album like that in the 70s where he covered like 6 songs and tried to do them as exactly. And I listened to that and it was good, but I was like, oh, he couldn't really hit the nail on the head in the 70s. But I'm like, maybe you can do that more now with like laptops and stuff.
No, this is the thing. As okay, I like Taylor's versions of things, but I can tell the difference between Taylor's version and the original versions of the songs. It's like you can't You can't do it twice.
You can't, keep put lightning in a bottle, as they say.
Yeah. Even though,
but it is interesting to try, which I think is where the Psycho remake came from. That being the most weird way to do it. But I do want to read one sentence from this bad review, by the way, because I don't agree with it, but I'm curious what we see in the sentence. Action sequence are directly copied from Wonder Woman and Spider-Man Far From Home.
I can kind of see what he means just in terms of like, it's not like a real action movie. It is more like a superhero action movie.
This is something I forgot to bring up was that, for instance, how this is such a
fleet of helicopters by hand.
That is true. But for instance, this is how different the movie is from the movie it's a remake of. Is I watched the opening of it, even though I didn't have English on. But basically, the movie this is a remake of opens with they're adults, their police dad is still alive, and they're in the movie theater, and the Vikram, he has a different name, spills a drink on a guy, and then it's trying to hide, and they end up kind of almost getting into a big brawl with people in the movie theater, but then the cops come, and they're trying to just avoid getting in trouble, but then the cops pick them up, and they take them to the police station, and their dad's dead body is on the floor of the police station surrounded in candles. So it's like way different. that alone is like a lot of difference between this and Baaghi 3. And also kind of awesomely brutal. So I'm looking forward to watching that. But I think the point I was trying to make with that is that this is not truly an exact remake, or
not really the same genre even, it sounds like.
Yeah, and that might be part of why people are mad at it, because it might be one of those things like, I'm mad at, I don't know, Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I'm mad at it. I might give that 1 star because I'm personally angry.
The one starring Rorschach?
Yes. Really don't like it.
Oh, here's another. This is just a good title for a 1-star review. Donate your brain before watching this movie. And then later I say donate your mind, but I think donate your brain's better. Okay. Yeah. I'd like to make 1 brain donation, please.
We should dissect that. Is a brain and a mind 2 different things? Are they saying that the soul doesn't reside in the brain?
I don't know. Yeah, the
philosophers on iBDb.
You do not. Yeah, you don't have to respond to that. That is meant to be completely ignored.
No, I want to start talking about that.
Just have another hour to this podcast.
Here's one that just says, "Don't watch this piece of $HIT," and it repeats that 4 times.
Okay. Well, they're emphatic. If you want to get a point in, you got to use repetition. If you want to get a point in, you got to use repetition.
If you got to get a point on, you might try repetition.
Do repetition.
Repetition. Okay. Repertoire. Anyway, we're Depeche mode.
Now Mark's doing the thing he hates, where he's just making noises on a podcast.
Anyway, we may never unravel the mystery of why this movie is hated so much, but maybe it's just the internet is stupid.
Or maybe we're just missing some much better movies, and this is our doorway. Yeah.
Yeah, I can honestly say that even if I watch Vitae and love all of it a lot, and love it a lot more than Baaghi 3, I still enjoyed Baaghi 3 and would rewatch it. So take that to the bonk.
Yeah, like I enjoy in its own way Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, even though I think it is a terrible remake of the original.
Yeah, I can see that. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I enjoyed what I saw.
I just think I love the suits and the visuals of it enough that it's fun for that, even if it is, This Mark Wahlberg is no Charlton Heston.
This might offend some people, but man, the Fallout TV series, very, very accurate looking series. Didn't end up liking the overarching story all that much.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people absolutely adoring the first episode and then falling off a little bit.
Yeah, it's this thing where
once that sheen wore off,
everybody knows each other even after 200 years. It's like that.
Oh,
yeah.
is that the what your Facebook post
Yep.
was referring to? I see.
Mhm. I figured it's safe to tell you, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna watch it. I hate Bethesda. So.
yeah, no, it's no Andor.
I guess the one catch about recommending Baaghi 3 is just it's a little hard to track down. Like you sent it to us. I'm looking at
Yeah.
YouTube, which doesn't have it, but it does have the official trailer, and the thumbnail just says 129 million plus views, like on the thumbnail for the trailer. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know where to tell people to watch this except for the piratebay.com.
It currently
And I
has
don't think that's even
130 million views. So they are correct, 129 million plus. It's now 130.
Yeah. Looks like you can rent it on Apple TV. So I don't
Okay,
know.
there you go. So
I
have
like
your
doing
Baaghi
that.
3 parties. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone want to throw
Yeah.
out another point on this? I assume we're winding down on this one.
No, it's hard to talk about in like a good podcast because it would just be me going, oh, and when he punched that guy, oh, and when he did the power slide under the tank, oh, and that bit where that happened was really funny. Like,
Got your thumb.
yeah, this film is very, very entertaining, but just in very dumb, broad ways. But like, I like it.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
like
Yeah.
so much
even the
of
things like,
even
oh,
films that pertain to be subtle just aren't. So why even bother? Just go for it. Just have big laughs, big action, big romance. Don't pretend to be anything you're not.
yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, this most movies would really dive in, I guess, to Vikram's like imposter syndrome and stuff. And this movie don't really care. That's just
Mhm.
what they do, you know? They're brothers, whatever.
Well, Vikram gets a great arc because he's
Yeah,
afraid and then he becomes successful and then he
Learns
impales
to
a guy
kick
on a bunch of
ass.
rebar. He murders the
when
guy.
he
So that's
sees his
cool.
brother in danger, then suddenly yeah, that
That's
last scene was great where like he's got the big goofy smile on his face because he's being beaten up and he knows it's going to make his brother go Super Saiyan. And
that's
then he
actually
impales the bad guy on like so many spikes, and yet he's still alive and needs to be punched one more time.
And then they just pull the spike or dagger out. It's like, don't do that. He's gonna bleed out if you do that. Well, he doesn't because he's a
not him.
Superman, but
He's Superman.
yeah. In
This is the
general,
thing
though, you
though,
wouldn't want to do that.
this is kind of what Marvel movies are missing is these simple character moments and arcs instead of like, oh, I also know these 17 other people and have complicated relationships with them. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
what a lot of the Marvel movies, even back when I was watching them, were missing is just scenes of superheroics.
Yeah, I think they fell into the trap of that a lot of modern movies fall into where they're like, this is corny. We're not going to do superheroics.
Yeah,
We're
when you
going
go
to do
back to like Sam Raimi Spider-Man, he always threw in a couple of scenes of Spider-Man saving some people every film just to give you some Spider-Man.
yeah, a train. I mean, that train scene is still probably
Yeah, probably the best superhero sequence ever filmed.
yep. It's celebrating its 25th anniversary or so now.
Nah, you got a couple more years.
I mean,
And that's two. That's 20 years. 20 years for Spider-Man 2. Trains in 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
20 years.
well,
Just doing
okay,
math for you,
20
man.
years.
Doing your
Okay,
math.
thanks. Thanks. I feel better, maybe. I like the James Gunn approach where he sort of takes the cynical and the emotional and blends them, but you know,
I still
But those
haven't
are
seen the
complicated character soap
super
keep it
operas. So.
simple, man.
Suicide
You don't even
Squad.
have to like the interconnectedness is the ruin of all of it. Is you just have a story about you don't even have to have the Fantastic Four don't have to know everybody, man. Just make a movie where the Fantastic Four do something and you did that once, you did it a couple of times, you just walk away from it. Anyway, they can't, they're addicted to it. And everybody else is too. And now we're hearing about how Highlander is going to have a universe and whatever.
Well, I think the Fantastic
You
Four
know,
thing
you know
is to
what the best film is at doing the shared universe shit? The Monsterverse.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Although I do think
yeah.
it's weird
Tries.
that they now have the thing where it's like there's four main actors in this movie, two of which will be in the next movie along with two others, and then the two from the first. So if you watch like two movies removed, and none of the
I
cast
don't
is
know
the
who you're
same.
talking about. The only actors in those films are a big ape and a big lizard.
I knew that was your response, but But yeah, I was kind of just noticing like, oh, it's funny how they like, it's like everyone's in for a 2 movie run, like staggered, as far as
Yeah,
the
I think
actors.
they've said the next one is going to be more Godzilla focused, so it'll probably be that side of the cast.
Right.
Because
Okay.
he really was just like he like when you play Marvel versus Capcom and you have the character you just call in for a special move. That's what Godzilla was in that film.
But I did finally finish Godzilla minus one, and now I've forgotten everything that happened in Godzilla X Kong.
Oh yeah, Godzilla X Kong was fun and done, but -1 is genuinely a masterpiece.
Right, right. So like I saw that 2 weeks ago, and it's pretty much erased from my mind already because I watched minus one. So
Mhm.
I haven't watched Godzilla X Kong yet. I'm gonna watch it this week because I've
You
just
should.
been
It
way
is
behind.
yeah,
delightfully
I
insane.
I mean
I have to. I've
the
watched all
main
the
mistake is just
beginning.
putting it out 6 months after minus one is probably
I
that's
I
I
kind of
remember
knew
the
it
I remember
wasn't.
water.
seeing people tweet like when that trailer was attached to -1, being like, "Wow, imagine how you must feel if you're those guys."
Well, that's why Toho was like barred from making these things for a few years because it
They have
makes a
a
weird chop.
Yeah, they have a rule that they won't release they won't both release a film in the same year,
Mm.
which might be
Hmm.
why -1 hasn't had an American disc release yet.
Ah, okay.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Well,
Making the
I
wrong
don't
choice
know.
there.
It's cool that Godzilla's gonna be pink. I like that.
Hmm.
So whatever that's worth. Even if he only shows up for a special move. That I also, but also I think that my favorite character in the first Godzilla versus Kong was Kong because he really felt like a tired, worn out old ape who'd
Hmm.
seen a lot of shit. But
Mark,
now we're sorry, go ahead.
so I'm actually going back to the Fantastic Four thing, if you don't mind. But is it
Uh-huh.
what I know? I heard this talked about on like other podcasts, but I think we also talked about the idea of doing the Fantastic Four as like a Ventures Brothers sort of thing. There's
Well,
just
they
straight
just announced
adventures that don't get along.
if they could just do that. The problem that I have with Venture Brothers is the Venture Brothers stopped being Venture Brothers after a while. They decided they wanted to do something serious, and that made everyone happy except me.
Well, I'm talking
Everyone
about
play.
seasons 1 to 3.
Okay, good. Yeah, I love that. They just announced Natasha Lyonne will be in it, so
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, I genuinely really liked the old like 2004 Fantastic Four films. They weren't great or anything, but I thought they were fun and they captured what they needed to.
I think I
Just do those,
started
but make
both
the
of them.
adventure more
Yeah.
wacky.
I think I started both of them and never finished either of them.
I think their Doctor Doom sucked and their Galactus sucked, but I
yeah,
think the
that's the
actual Fantastic
problem.
Four were really good.
Mm.
The people who played the characters in the Fantastic Four were good, but like the framework wasn't great. And uh, in theory, I would have loved Josh Trank's movie, but it just was a disaster. I guess because he is a fuck up and like went off and stayed in his trailer the whole time, and then studio interference happened. Have either of you seen that one?
No.
The
I
fan
actually
four
haven't.
stick?
No, is that on our bad list? It feels like it's not
No, I
far
think
off.
it's in the fours.
Mm.
Um, but the thing is, that movie there it could have been really good, but they just wouldn't commit to it being a superhero movie, so there's just not enough of anything. And then the scene with Doctor Doom in it is like some of the most intense fucked up murder shit I've ever seen, where it's just a guy who looks like an alien. It's just this like screaming noise, and he's walking around and people's heads are exploding when he walks up to them. And that has nothing to do with Doctor Doom, but it was cool as shit. So,
That's the
um
2015 one?
yes, I'm
Okay. I mean, I'm
okay.
not gonna
I
watch it,
can't.
but
That's at
Fant Four stick.
4.3. 4.3. So yeah, it's not quite there, but it widely hated, and I wouldn't say it's really worth watching, but man, that could have been good. I loved Chronicle, even though I guess now everyone who made Chronicle is a piece of shit. So I can't I'm not gonna tell people to watch it because it's like Max Landis and Josh Trank, but that to me was possibly the best found footage movie ever made.
He lost me with found footage usually,
Well,
but
this is the thing. The guy has powers and he uses his powers to levitate the camera. So the
ooh.
camera could be anywhere. So it doesn't have to look like a fucking found footage movie.
Okay,
Problem
that's good.
solved.
That's problem solved. Um, So anyway, sorry I interrupted. Were you finished with Pink Godzilla?
We need to stop. Yeah, we need to
Okay,
do something.
we've been done for the past 15
Yeah.
minutes. I'm just playing Donkey Kong Country, to be honest.
If you want to hear us ranting more and more about things that are not the topic we were promising, head over to Patreon, Podcastius. You get a little more films and filth there. You get the Twilight Zone with Time Enough podcast. You get Space 1999 with Podcast 1999. You get your Pokemon with Luke Loves Pokemon. Hyrule Field Report wrapping up, right?
Yeah, we do need to do a finale episode, but I'm gonna probably just wait till I have internet now.
Radio.
Also, we didn't get that many responses, so
Game show doing its thing with the gamers. Okay.
Yeah, Ganondorf's in the fucking ground.
yeah, boy. He didn't get a burial.
Yeah, you'd more like just
Just chucked him off a
disintegrated.
bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, I hit a stop then.
All right. So it ended with us talking about dead Ganondorf. That's cool.
That's right. Oh, the button slipped. Bye-bye, everyone.